Hello everybody, my name is Alex and today we are talking about Civilization 6 and the possibility and likelihood of more DLC because it looks like it's happening. Now, if some of you remember back to my video a couple of weeks ago, as you can see, obviously I am in touch with Firaxis because I clearly know what's going on. It's just a fluke. But basically the other day, a new DLC under the name of Runner was added to the list of Civ 6 DLCs on the Steam database, as was about 10 more yet unspecified achievements. Basically, we're getting some more DLC. We don't know what form in yet, but we are getting some more. So with all that said, I thought I'd give my take on some of the biggest talking points with this. So today I'm going to talk about what I expect and want from the DLC. Will it be a third major expansion or will it be something a lot smaller? Could we perhaps be getting John F. Kennedy in the game? That's interesting logic how I've come to that conclusion. And then finally for console players, I'm going to have a brief discussion on whether or not I think this DLC will be PC exclusive, and if so, for how long. Now before we jump into this video, I just want to give the Saxy Gamer a shout out. Obviously he covered this topic a couple of days ago in his video. Very good video, and once you've watched this, I do urge you to go and check that out for more theories and a good take on that. Okay, so let's start off, first of all, by answering the big question. In my opinion, is this DLC a third major expansion on the scale of Rise and Fall, on the scale of Gathering Storm, or is it something smaller? I'm very sorry to say, but I don't think it's a big one. I think we're looking at some cool new content, but I don't think we're looking at the sort of new mechanics and loads more civs that a big major third expansion would bring to Civilization 6. I think it's something smaller. Now I'll tell you why I think that. So the first and obvious reason, and this was mentioned in the Saxy Gamer's video, and I've seen it around elsewhere as well, is that 10 achievements is just not enough for this game to be, for this DLC to be a major expansion. Rise and Fall and Gathering Storm both bring way more achievements than that. So unless they go ahead and add more achievements, then surely this isn't a third major expansion. Now, the bigger bit of knowledge for me in thinking why this won't be a third major expansion, now I hope I'm wrong. Honestly, if I am wrong, I will be absolutely delighted because I'd love to see what they do with another major expansion. But I think the big problem with it is that these games, and Civ 6 especially right now with its base mechanics and then the mechanics that have already been added, can get really confusing. And the big challenge with adding a third big expansion would be, how do those mechanics work with what we've already got? Because if they just go ahead and add some more mechanics which sort of half work but then sort of don't work, this game will become probably more frustrating, overwhelming and confusing rather than becoming a better experience because of the expansion. Now that's just my take on it, I'm sure some people disagree, but there's probably a reason that the Civ games since like Civ 2 have stuck to 2 major expansions, because if you keep adding, eventually things are just going to become ridiculous. Now I did say in my past video though that Civ 6 has broken the mold already. If you think about it, it's like it's even got a Battle Royale mode and it's on console, so it has already broke the mold, but right now I'm thinking it's probably not a third major expansion. So Alex, what are you thinking? Are you thinking and are you wanting a really bog standard Civ and scenario pack? No. I'm actually thinking, and this is what I want to happen, I want to see a Civilization leader specific expansion. Maybe throwing 1 or 2 new civs in there, but I want to see an expansion, a piece of DLC, which focuses on adding more leaders to the game, rather than more mechanics and more civs. Maybe throw some units in there as well. But the reason I say this is because right now, the feature just feels underutilized. Like Civ 6, it made sort of a big thing about bringing multiple leaders to each Civ, and then it just sort of feels like they've not done loads with it. Fair enough, Greece has multiple leaders, so does India, and Eleanor of Aquitaine obviously acts as the second leader for both England and France. But apart from that, there's not really much going on, and I think there's so many cool big name historical leaders out there, and also sort of smaller ones which people might not know about, there's so many cool options there that they could bring to the game, so many cool spins they could do on different civilizations, to use different civ strengths in different ways, that this would be a really good idea, because we already have a ton of civs in the game. I know we're missing some big ones, but why not just sort of enhance what we currently have? Who exactly then could they bring to Civilization 6? My god, the ones I've wrote down here are so bog standard, but I absolutely love them, so there's nothing too out there. But I got Elizabeth I down. She has been in every single Civ game, I think, prior to Civ 6, so can we keep the record up, please? I love Elizabeth. I think she's great. Again, I'm thinking maybe with Eleanor of Aquitaine, it's quite unlikely, though, we'd get her in. Napoleon Bonaparte, obviously, rode a horse, conquered lots of Europe. Would be cool to have him in. Again, though, Eleanor's ruining it for these, because that means they'd have 3 leaders, and I don't see that happening. Bismarck could be a cool one. And there's lots and lots more. I mean, think about the amount of American presidents or Roman emperors. There is so many cool leaders they could add. Now, a little theory I have here is that, this is such a stretch theory, but I quite like it, is that, so in the Saxy Gamer's video, he highlighted that after we sort of got the name for the DLC as runner, the lead designer of Civ 6, Ed Beach, tweeted that he was taking part in the Boston Marathon, which is a strange coincidence. Now, the Saxy Gamer took this information to be sort of seen as the DLC will release on April 20th, but I thought, could there be a little bit more to it? Could we perhaps be getting a hint at a leader? This is stretch, but I like it. If there's going to be a leaders expansion, the United States, America is pretty much guaranteed to get a new leader, right? Boston, Massachusetts? How many US presidents are linked to there? There's quite a few, but there's one in particular, somebody who's not really appeared in too many Civ games, that would be quite interesting. It'd be quite interesting to see his take on America's foreign policy. And that's John F. Kennedy, because he was born in the state of Massachusetts. I think he was born quite near Boston. So is Ed Beach teasing us with John F. Kennedy? Probably not, but I just thought it was an interesting theory. I also thought when we look at sort of when the Boston Marathon is, could the date of April 20th be perhaps a hint to a leader? And then I quickly realised, no. Don't Google that, because there is a historical figure who was born on April 20th. Yeah, we don't want them in, and it's not the Conservative MP Eric Pickles. It's far worse than that. Finally then, because I know a lot of you who have subscribed from the console version of the game will be wondering, will this DLC come to consoles? Ultimately, my answer is yes, it probably will. You know, people will buy it on consoles, so it'd be silly not to bring it at some point. I think there will be a gap between release on PC and release on consoles, and depending on how big the expansion is, probably depends how big that gap is. Like, if this is another third major expansion, I think you're gonna be waiting 6 months, a year to see this expansion on consoles. If it's just a scenario pack, something like that, I think we'll be waiting a few months. But I think ultimately, eventually, one way or the other, this DLC will make its way onto consoles. Okay then, so that's my take on the Civilization 6 runner expansion. I can't wait to see what it is. Do you think that it's going to be another major expansion, or do you think we're perhaps looking at something smaller? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, let me know the kind of leaders and mechanics you'd want to see in any sort of expansion. And once you've watched this, please go ahead and check out the Saxy Gamer's video. He brought this topic to the forefront, really. So yeah, it's a good watch. Talks about a lot of other mechanics and ideas I've not touched on here. So yeah, go and check that out. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm Alex, and I will see you in another video soon.